Dun, 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 da, da, da. Ah, I have my cup of tea. And I think I'm all sorted. And we've got a viewer as well. Have you got yours as well?
I
And
do.
hello there, Alyssa. How are you? Oh, you see, you've got a Comic-Con one. That's not fair. I I actually had to have mine printed up. Look at that. Actually, this is I'm gonna have to, this isn't somebody who is a Comic-Con follower. This is just a friend of mine. This is Jason Cook, who may watch this back as a friend of mine. For my birthday, he actually had that printed up for me. How
It's
cool!
very nice.
How cool is that? It's kind of like my first kind of piece of merch. It's rather cool. I'm actually going to. This is going to be interesting as well. Hang on a second. First of all, hello there. Welcome along, everybody who is watching. I know we have a couple of viewers. This is a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. Hopefully, you have got your cup of tea as well. This is a live hangout in which we talk San Diego Comic-Con. We are talking. Is it 79 days now? I
I
think it
think so.
is 79 days to San Diego Comic-Con, and hang on a second.
My goodness.
We're getting kind of like tied up with things because I've invited a couple of people. First of all, quick say hello to Alyssa Franks. Hello from the Friends of sorry about this. The Friends of CCI forum. Hello there, Alyssa. How are you?
Fine, thank you, Leonard.
Ah, excellent stuff. Bear with me a second because I've got my iPad in front of me because we've got Megan, but,
Hi, Megan.
but we're kind of doing this in a very backwards kind of way. I think she's actually called me on my profile. So tell you what, Megan, what I'm going to do is we'll hang up this call. I'll invite you to this hangout again, and we'll have another go. Okay? All right, then we'll speak to you soon. That will be Megan Gotch from the Nerdy Girly. And yes, it is that profile, so I've definitely got the right one. So,
It is 79 days and 8 hours
oh
before
my word,
what I have for preview night. And
good
I've even
lord.
8.5 hours, according to the countdown on my forum, which is only as good as the information that's put into it, but
This is
I
very
can.
true. I mean, I've got mine as well, which is the the Englishman in San Diego, by the way. An Englishman at San Diego at an Englishman in San Diego.com. That's the one. I knew I had a website. I knew I did. And I've got my countdown on there as well. And I think every site has got a countdown on it. And as it fires itself up, and it says now I've got my 79 hours and 79 days and 16 hours.
Oh no,
Hmm. So I'm wondering if that's the time difference, perhaps.
it's either that or it's the fact that I set it to a preview for preview night at 6 p.m. versus
Ah.
Thursday morning at 9:30.
No, that makes sense. I think I actually set mine to the first
Yep.
official day of Comic-Con
Yep.
2014. Right. So yes, this is an open forum where we talk about Comic-Con. You're more than welcome to jump in with the conversation by all means. You can either go to the Google Plus event page, which is hopefully where you came to this from, or you can go to the YouTube page. I am going to do my best to try and keep an eye on those YouTube comments. But if things do get lost in the post, yes, the best place to actually get in contact with us, go to the Google Plus event page for this. Click on the Q&A in the top corner of the video, and you can actually contribute to all the bits and pieces that's happening on the screen. And we've got several people who've saying hello already. We've got Nerd Element who is watching. Hello. I don't know which member of the Nerd Element because there's Kimberly, there's There's a bunch of them. Rob S. From sorry, I'm getting myself all a little bit tangled up because we've got several people who were going to be joining us. Fruit on Alliance on Twitter, that's right. Now, I have invited Rob. I'm going to try Rob again. I know this seems a little bit odd, and we have been trying to get people invited and try and get people involved over the last kind of half an hour.
If you'd like, I can do the what's happening on the forum.
That's a very good point. Okay, so yeah, Alyssa runs the Friends of CCI forum, which is at Friends. In fact, if I actually click onto her, you can actually see her website address there, friendsofcci.com forum. Lots of things obviously being talked about on the forum. Take it away.
Well, you do the technical and get more people invited.
I try and do the technical, yes.
So what's been happening over the past week? Ticket questions have died. Hotel questions are still a factor. The roommate thread is gets steady traffic. So if you're looking for a roommate, that's the place to go and post. The confirmed panel and guest area is really starting to heat up. There's a lot of speculation about the big movie panels. When a movie is going to be released, when it will be, maybe they'll have a big panel at Hall H. Collectors are trolling for any information on exclusives. I personally have already put my order in for there's a Supernatural die-cast car, which I shouldn't say this too loudly, but my son will absolutely love. And well, you know, Supernatural is cool. And we've got a link to it on the forum, and a bunch of other places have got the link too. We're going to go into parking. I know Leonard's going to go into parking later, and has got a good interview with Jon, whose last name I can't pronounce.
Gjerset or Gjerset is one of the two.
The interview that Leonard's done is really interesting because he goes more into the technical side of it, which the blog wasn't quite able to do because of their formatting, the way they have it set up. But that's if you're into the technical geeky side of it, and he really goes into the load balancing and what they're planning for with regards to loads. I found that to be really fascinating. But we've got all the info we need to do the parking thing, which is cool. I mean, I feel a lot more confident about this one than I did about the ticket sales a week out. 2 weeks out, because we weren't really sure what was going to happen with how the new ticket sales were going to go.
Sure.
But this time I feel a lot more confident about it.
It's got to be said, the conversation I had, a lot of people were very concerned about the parking, and it does seem that with the information that's coming through from official channels, it has kind of allowed people to calm down a little bit and get very much settled into what's going to happen. That happens on Tuesday in 2 weeks' time. That's the 20th of May, if you're getting all sorted. So if you bear with us, what we're going to do is we are going to play back the interview with Jon very shortly indeed. Still trying to get hold.
More people added.
Yeah, well, yes, I'm still. We have actually got a couple. Actually, like I say, we've got a couple of blogging sites that want to take part. It's an open forum, so do tweet me at Englishman SDCC, which is on screen. If you do want to take part, if you want to jump in on the conversation, please, please, please. We've had the nerdy girls that want to take part, and we've had the nerdy girly that wants to take part. Two totally different blogs. But it's a case of we've invited them, and it's just hoping that they'll jump in and find us on Google+. Alyssa managed to get the invite.
Well, yeah, but I kind of, but that's me.
Man.
So,
But I mean, the one way we could do this, like I say, we could actually have Megan join us actually on the iPad, and I could just kind of hold her up, and we could have a sort of like just taking part on screen. I don't know. I don't think that'll work, but yes, we could try that. Tell you what we'll do is we'll actually play the interview with Jon. We'll hopefully you'll be able to let us know if it shows up on the screen. Very quickly, let's go through one or two comments that have come through already on the question and answer. Thank you very much indeed for putting in any posts. Do jump in with any questions, and we'll do what we can to cover them today. Actually, I had a question and post earlier on this week saying, what qualifies you to talk about San Diego Comic-Con? That is an incredibly good question. At the end of the day, I am a glorified amateur at this. I have worked for Comic-Con as a volunteer staff member. I've been going to Comic-Con since 2010. I'm a relative newbie at all of this. But at the end of the day, what's my qualifications to talk about Comic-Con? At the end of the day, I have none, but I do want to talk about it, and hopefully you'll want to join in and talk with us about it. I think that's all we can do, really. Likewise with Alyssa. Alyssa has got a lot more kind of qualification to talk about Comic-Con than I do, setting up the forum and having all that dialogue in the background. Oop. See, this is where Megan is trying to contact me and trying to ring, and I don't know if... Hello, Megan. Yes, you're actually contacting me on the Leonard Sultana login. That's where it's kind of going wrong, perhaps. Megan Gotch, everybody. You see, we could just do this. She could just be right beside me, and we'll just have a chat like that.
I swear I don't miss my phone.
No, I didn't hear. Understand?
I didn't quite understand.
No, I didn't quite understand that either. I'm going to try and invite you again, and we'll try again. Go to the Hangouts page, and I'll try and invite you again. Okay.
I do have a little bit more that's been happening on the forum if you want me to vamp while you...
I'll tell you what, no, what we'll do is we will actually cover this this interview, because I know that people are wondering what on earth we're talking about.
Sounds good.
This is about the parking that's going to be taking place, the sale in 2 weeks' time on Tuesday the 20th of May. This is a conversation with Jon Gjerset, who is the Chief Information Officer of Ace Parking. So if I just bring this over to here and hit screen share, this is Jon talking to me on Friday just gone about Ace Parking and the sale.
I'm not hearing him, Leonard.
Is it not playing?
I saw his mouth move, but I didn't hear anything.
Okay, let's try it again. 1 second. This is where we were actually hoping to get the audio on it. Bear with me a second. Information officer for Ace Parking. I'll keep this brief because no doubt it's currently in preparation for the sale on the 20th of May. 2.5 weeks ago. How are things in the office at the moment?
Oh, they're going along pretty well. The real focus is on the program right now and just preparing it, making sure that it's ready for the siege that will occur the day that we put the permits on sale. So there's a lot of preparation and QA testing. It's a new program, so this will be. I mean, it is being used currently, but in very small scope, and so this is going to be a major prime time event for it. So we want to make sure that it goes well.
Ace Parking has indeed taken quite a big hit. Then again, all of the Comic-Con sales procedures have over the last previous years. I mean, what's the load been like in previous years? Say, for example, 2013. How many people did hit that button?
It a lot more than we ever expected. This will be the third year that the permits have gone on sale. I think the first year it wasn't something that a lot of people were thinking about, and so the third-party provider that we were using, it's a system called iPark. They were able to just kind of breeze through it. There wasn't really a big siege upon their website all at once when the permits went on sale. But the word went out, and the second year, I think the Comic-Con crowd is a very, excuse me.
We're a rabid bunch.
Yeah, they're a very energetic bunch. They are very tech savvy and connected, and so they realized the permits were a good thing to have, and so they were waiting for those for that release date to occur. And when that 9 a.m. time rolled around on that date, they just pounded our website. Our corporate website went offline, and the third party iPark site also went offline as well. And it was actually the amount of activity that hit their website was very substantial. They told me that they thought they were under attack, but I said no. I think it's just a lot of very anxious Comic-Con attendees trying to get to their parking permits.
I mean, how many kind of people are we talking here? I presume we're talking in the tens of thousands.
Yeah, tens of thousands. Yeah, for sure. They got bumped offline within minutes of the event going live, and they sent me over a log of the traffic that they'd seen, and it was, there was over 100,000 hits that hit their website within the first 10 minutes, and so it just buried them. They just weren't ready for it.
Wow. Okay, well, this year you have decided to do something about that, and you've actually gone for something built from the ground. Is it built from the ground up?
Yeah, it's built from the ground up. It's a new system. We originally developed it to sell parking reservations to there's a small village here right on the waterfront called Seaport Village, and we won the contract for that venue, and so we were working with the Seaport Village employees to try and accommodate them with their parking. And between working with Seaport Village and the convention center, we were able to set up an arrangement with the convention center so that the Seaport Village employees could park there at a discount. And to make that easier and kind of facilitate that whole process, we decided to create a reservation system for them. And so it was built from the ground up, and as we got it going and started to see what it could do, we realized it would be something that we could also use in other ways. And Comic-Con was quickly brought up as another way to use the program. And so once the focus was, once the idea of using it for Comic-Con was decided upon, it just took off. It took a life of its own, and we've been doing a lot of development on it in preparation for it ever since.
Well, no doubt you've been absolutely beta testing the hell out of this. I'm guessing you're pretty confident at this point. I mean, we're, like, say, 2 weeks away.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident about it. It's going to be hard to predict exactly how the traffic patterns will hit the website. It's one of these things that it's just an unknown, and so we'll just have to see how it goes. But I'm doing a lot of preparation. I've got load testing, going on multiple times a day. We've tested up to 5,000 concurrent users on the website, all sieging it at one time, and that's a very heavy load. And it's been a real game of whack-a-mole, as we've been going through and discovering the different bottlenecks. We tune the database, and we discover that we're just burning up one of the tables, and so we create a read replica, and we discover that we're burning up the replica. So then we kind of load balance across multiple replicas, and we get the database all tuned in, and things are looking good. And then the focus kind of moves over to something with the Apache configuration for the server, and it's really been a game of whack-a-mole. It's been amazing, to tell you the truth, and it's really been a learning experience for me. I've never experienced anything like this, because this is kind of like an unprecedented thing for a parking company. You know what I mean? So, to have a system that's going to be able to horizontally scale and deal with a mass, of traffic at one time, like a big sales event, it's highly unusual. So it's been a great experience for me, and I've been using online professional load testing tools like BlazeMeter to make sure that the site can handle what it's going to see, and so far things are looking pretty good with it. you know, every day though I'm testing and testing and testing. So my goal is to make sure that when the event goes on sale, that the site will be able to remain online. It might get a little slow, but it might.
Nice and smooth. That's what you're hoping for.
Yeah, yeah. Is that a jet in the background there?
Is that a what?
I just heard there was a noise in the background.
Oh, I don't know. It may be hard drive. It may be hard drive spinning up.
Yeah, maybe. So, but you know, it's like I said, my goal is to keep the site up during that initial hour, 2 hours when the permit sales are really going crazy. And you know, if we can make it through that and only experience some slowness in response times, I'll be very pleased.
Excellent. I mean, are there any changes to the process, or any additions, obviously, because this is a whole new system? Any changes that you've been happy to see working? Anything that you've introduced that you're quite?
One of the things we're most proud about is this year the permits are going to be tied to a single barcode. So when you go to the site and you buy your 3 or 4 days or 2 days of parking, whatever you buy, you're going to be able to print out a permit, but you're also going to be able to have an email that you can have on your smartphone, and there will be one barcode that will basically be not replenished, but be. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, there's that sound again.
Actually, I'm gonna pause that for a second and just jump to yourself, Megan. Sorry, Alyssa. Is that something that was brought up on the forums at all about the single barcode? Is that something that has proven to be popular, or is that something that is that something that?
I think it's interesting because what it does is forces, if you buy 4 days worth of tickets and you decide, oh, I want to give one of those days, I want to give to my friend since I'm not going and I'm not driving, you can't, you know, it's a little bit more tricky.
Yeah.
With regards to that. So I think I think having the system all tied together, so that if the barcode is scanned twice, you can't print the pages off. So I think it's a more secure system, what they're talking about, for less fraud. That's, you know, but to my mind, that seems to be the major advantage.
Yeah. Okay, I wanted to check because obviously it's something that has been introduced into this, so I wanted to just check with that. Okay,
Sure.
let's continue with the playback.
My side, so I don't know if it is hard drive spinning up.
But there'll be one barcode that will basically be tied into both of your parking permits. I'm kind of stumbling a little bit there because I haven't had much sleep last night. But
Understandable.
But
Okay.
Can we back up for just a second there? So,
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, like I was saying, you'll get on and you'll buy your 1 or 2 days or 3 days worth of parking, and then you're assigned one single barcode, and that barcode will be good for all 3 of your permits. So a few of our lots we're actually going to be able to offer a scanning device that will be able to scan the barcode off of a smartphone or a mobile device. So you won't need to have that paper permit, and that I know we're going to be doing that for sure at the convention center. There's a possibility we'll also be able to do that at the Hilton Bayfront and a few of the other lots. In the other cases, it'll be a need for the person to print out the permit and put it up onto their dashboard, and the lot checker will then come around and do the enforcement, scan the barcode. But it's the fact that the permits this year will be a single permit with a single barcode, and you won't have multiple permits per day, that I think is a nice feature. And also being able to add that online, that scanning of the permits, so that you won't have to carry around that paper, is another nice feature. Inside the system, we're also making it possible for you to be able to refund your unused permit if you're leading up to the event and you realize that you're not going to be able to go and you need to get your money back for the permit. You'll be able to go in and process a refund inside your own account. So there's the few things that there's a few things that are going to be different with the site. It means you're going to have an account on the site and have to log into it. You'll be able to store your credit card information inside that account. It's not actually stored on our website. We're doing it all PCI compliant, being stored on our payment gateway. But that feature will be available. You will be able to use the system in the future. If you come back next year to Comic-Con, your account will be set up and ready to go.
Yeah, I know that you've recently had a visit from the SDCC unofficial blog, and
yeah,
they had a walkthrough of the procedure that was in place, and you kind of gave them a bit of a tour. And I did notice that someone had spotted that there is an item that is an account that is stored on their system, on the account system, and then they were very, especially when it comes to making sure that they're getting back to wherever they need to apply and all the forms that they need to, that there is actually a stored feature of information. They were very pleased by that addition. That was very.
Oh yeah, good. I haven't actually seen any of the comments from this morning, but yeah, I did have a little tour of the system yesterday with the guys over there at the SD Comic-Con blog, the unofficial blog, and it was pretty funny too, because I've been doing so much high availability load testing work on the website that I have the Apache configuration and all the different parameters on the website scaled way up to be able to deal with this load. And so before the interview yesterday, I spun up a real small instance with what turned out to be very inadequate RAM, and I was doing the demo on it, and I buried the server during the demo, and that did not look good. It was because my Apache configuration was consuming so much RAM that the server went out to swap space, and it was just swapping and thrashing like crazy. But it's one of those things you live and learn, and we're just gonna, like I said, it was. That was a
demo. That was a demo. You're talking 2 weeks later towards the actual event. Brilliant. I mean, so it's great to see that there's so much effort being put into this sale, and you're certainly seeming very confident, and you're very much looking to getting the whole thing up and running in 2 weeks' time. We have had one or two questions. I posted that I was holding this interview on a couple of forums, the Friends of CCI forum for a start, and I did have one or two questions. So I hope you don't mind. I'm going to jump in.
No, go ahead. Feel free.
Right. One question was, are the opening and closing times the same as last year, 2013? The frequently asked questions on your website states opening at 6 a.m. and closing at midnight, but they were slightly different last year. The questioner is asking if the announcement is a changing policy or a restatement of standard operating procedure.
It's currently being determined right now, and we will likely be changing the opening time and moving it a little earlier to 5 a.m. The lots, 12 p.m. is the time that they're talking about, 12 a.m. midnight is the time that they're talking about for the closing of the lots.
Sure.
But there's a little grace period in there, and by 2 a.m. they want you to definitely be off the lot. They don't want people spending the night on the lots, because that actually occurred in the past and turned into a problem because they were there in the morning, and we're selling these lots out completely each day, and the people have the permits, and so the people that overstayed expected to just be able to pay for parking the next day, and they didn't have a permit. In a lot of cases, they didn't have a valid permit for that day. But they were there, and then what do? You have to go in, and you have to ask them to leave, and it's not a nice situation to have to deal with. So we prefer to close the lots and have everybody off the lots, and it also gives us a chance to clean them up and just prepare them for the next day.
Sure. Okay. Another question. A lot of people have been looking at the fees for this year, and also a year in, year out bone of contention, as it were, is the online additional fee. Just a question that has come in: what is that fee actually used for? Is it administration? Is it credit card? What's the actual purpose of that?
It's a lot of things, and it is one of these things that's just not very popular with the public. But it's the hospitality industry, the travel industry, everybody, all these different industries have embraced fees to such an extent. It's just really become kind of a way of life for us. Sure. But this year, you know, the fee is actually lower than last year. We've reduced it by it's about 17%. So that, I mean, that's a step in the right direction. But you know, that is money that is used for the credit card processing fees. And this year, I can tell you that nearly all of it will be going to pay for the development of the website. Because the development of this reservation website has actually been much more than I ever anticipated. And it's, you know, it's a project that you look at initially and you think, oh yeah, we can do that, no problem. And you get rolling with it, and then you realize, okay, well, you know, we need this feature and we need that feature, and it just goes around and around and around, and it kind of takes on a life of its own. And in order to get it to where we really need it to be, you know, it's required a lot of development time. And so, you know, I look at these fees, or those fees this year, and I kind of think, well, you know, I can understand why we need to have them there. And, you know, it's just one of these things that there's never going to be an answer that makes everybody happy. You know,
well, I mean, the prices of parking in San Diego have been creeping up steadily over the last number of years. I mean, I think it's anywhere between $13 and $14 a day at the moment, and certainly the downtown parking. So I think certainly there's that the Ace parking rates certainly are in line with what is on offer, and you certainly, and like you say, have done what you can to keep the prices down. Okay, well, let's see what else. There was a question about the quantities of loads that you are looking to handle. How many folks are you comfortably looking at buying at once? But I think we covered that. You're aiming for something like 10,000?
Yeah, you know, I'm load testing up to that amount. I just don't know how many people are going to hit the website all at one time. I'm going to try to have a little headroom capacity in there to deal with a bigger load. I don't know if it'll be 10,000. You know, I know it's going to be a lot. I just, you know, we will be able to analyze it after the event, really see and understand what we saw. It's going to be, you know, for me, it's been, you know, the ultimate project, because it's really, you know, it's been exciting, and I'm looking forward to the event, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how it goes in the aftermath. And you know, I'm you know, it's a calculated risk. I'm feeling pretty hopeful that everything goes well, but I'm also, you know, gonna try and be humble, and if something doesn't go right, I'm gonna make sure that I get it corrected as soon as possible.
Well, I'd love to have a Twitter conversation with you on the 21st to see.
Yes, right. We'll see how it goes.
I think we'll interrupt there, actually, because I think we've covered pretty much everything that he does talk about. I really want to. I know that he is actually on a business trip at the moment in Chicago, which is the reason why he couldn't take part today live. Which I really did actually want him to do. I wanted him to join us in the Hangouts. You know, try and invite somebody else to the Hangout as well, and see if that worked. But as it happened, he is on a business trip, so he wasn't able to join us. But I think I want to thank him for his time for taking part in that interview, because he really did go into a lot of details. So that all happens on, like I say, the 20th of May, which is in 2 weeks' time. How much chatter is on the forum at the moment about it?
A fair amount. You know, people are concerned about parking. People are kind of a little concerned about the prices, and it really seems to be getting to the point. It's the make or break. You know, $20 a day is kind of like, to do it or not to do it is just. You know, it's really a tipping point, I think, for a lot of people. I think that if they were to go up for the undercon parking in Hilton, if they were to go up to $25, it would probably be the law of supply and demand, and we may see demand fall at that point for it. But I think at $20 a day, we're still probably going to get, he's going to get, I'm kind of like thinking to myself, you're only planning for 10,000 people.
Yeah.
You know, thinking about the ticket sales, and you know, thinking of 130,000, 200,000 people. But you know, he's probably right that only 10,000 people are going to go for it.
Sure.
I don't know. It will be interesting on the 22nd to find out.
Yeah, exactly how many people have gone for.
Yeah.
I follow him on Twitter. We do talk reasonably regularly, and I am looking forward to seeing what his feed is like on the 20th and the 21st. I can imagine
Yes.
it's going to be a bit frantic. One thing that I did very quickly cover when, I don't know if I covered it on, I think I hung up at this point, and we did have a carry on of a quick conversation. I did want to bring this up because people were talking about why the prices were what they were and what the administration fee was. Considering that, especially in the case of the convention center, the fee that is charged to the general public for parking, that all goes to the convention center. The actual fee on top, the $5 that people have been talking about, that is the administration for Ace Parking, and they have to cover a lot of bases with that when it comes to actually putting all that development time on the website and on the new system. So it's almost like a very delicate balance that they have to kind of work out between how much they can charge people, and at the end of the day, what the convention center is asking for. It's
Right.
very, and also the other sites around San Diego, I can imagine. So
Right. I mean, the thing that got me was that they're you know, to my mind, they're only charging under $4, under $5 to administer the whole thing at this point, and that goes for, you know, all of their facilities. So I don't know. To my mind, at least for this year, it makes sense to me, and I don't have a problem paying it.
sure.
But that's just me.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, that's the main focus of what I wanted to do in tonight's hangout, well, today's hangout, well, this morning's hangout for yourself, Alyssa. I did want to, like I say, I wanted to get other people invited, and I did have Megan on, kind of like online, ready to go. She did actually turn around and say that she did want to cover some things. She did want to talk about the Sherlock party, which I'm guessing is going to be something that's happening at this year's con. Megan, if you're watching this, if you want to tweet the details of that, and I will read that out, but she did want to cover the Sherlock party. Something that's been coming up on a couple of the boards that I've been speaking about is obviously everyone's getting excited and ramped up about Comic-Con 2014, and also looking back at their favourite moments. We've got the question and answer on the on my page right now and on the event page for this hangout. Do jump in with any of these comments, because I want to know. We'll do this for the next 5 minutes, and Alyssa, I'll give you some time to think about your answer. Talking about their favourite moments of Comic-Con. Their favourite times, that standout moment that certainly resonates, and one of the reasons why people keep going back. So, tell you what, you've got 5 minutes now, everybody. Put something into the question and answer and contribute. What would you say is your favourite Comic-Con moment? Not necessarily your favourite element, because, I mean, for myself, while the panels and all the bits and pieces that happen around Comic-Con are very much an exciting and an attractive part of the reason why we go. For me, the main reason why I keep coming back to Comic-Con, and it is an expensive proposition to keep coming back every year from the UK, certainly, it's that sense of tribe and family and belonging, knowing that you're in the company of 140,000 people that all have that same vibe and enthusiasm that you do. When it comes to individual moments, however, I think I'm going to have to say it's going to be the Firefly panel from 2 years ago. Some of you may have seen the bits and pieces. Sorry, I keep saying bits and pieces. I want to stop saying that phrase. I'm sorry, that's just a tick of mine. I do apologise. By the way, if you want to contribute on this as well, jump in. Your favourite Comic-Con moment, send it into Englishman SDCC. Tell us what your favourite Comic-Con moment. Like I say, the Firefly 10th year reunion panel that happened, I believe it was on the Friday of Comic-Con 2012. It had already started out to be a very big event with the queues starting very early in the morning. I think it actually started more like the late afternoon of the Thursday. People who were in the queue were very lucky to be woken up and interrupted by Joss Whedon, who went round and woke people up and had pictures taken. I think he'd actually just come from a meal and decided to go round the lines, and that was a nice touch. But to be in a room of, I think it's something like coming close to 3,000 people inside Ballroom 20, and knowing that there's twice as many again in the queue behind you, to try and get into this extremely popular panel. There's somebody who's very a known face on the boards from New Zealand, Donna Gardner, who's a great fan of Legends of Korra, and they held a panel before the Firefly panel, and I really kind of felt very upset for the Korra fans, because they were almost muscled out of their panel by this wave of Firefly fans coming in for the panel after. It was a very emotional, very charged room, and I'm not too humble and unmanly to say that tears were shed, certainly on my part, throughout the entire course of that panel. Indeed, the final question, where the moderator asked Joss what his favourite, what did the fans mean to him after all this time of Firefly being off the air and all the support that he had, and Joss couldn't quite bring himself to come up with an answer. If you do watch on YouTube, the last round of applause may have been started by myself as I was on my feet, because just him seeing his broken up face of just unable to look out of this room of love that was coming towards him, and just couldn't get the words together. To be honest, that's all I needed to hear, because it really did sum up what Firefly meant to him, meant to the cast, and meant to the fans. I'm almost filling up thinking about it now. It was a very emotionally charged day. So the Firefly panel for me is certainly one of the highlights of cons gone past. Alyssa, favorite Comic-Con moment?
Just to dovetail onto the Firefly panel, I still have hopes that Joss will do something in the Firefly universe. 5 years down the road of just have another idea for that universe. I loved it so much. My favorite moment was probably the introduction of the Avengers in Hall H. That year, a couple years before that. That was just the look of pure joy on my son's face when he got to see Harrison Ford and Robert Downey Jr. and the Avengers panel, and he's normally a pretty reserved kind of a kid, and he couldn't help himself, and just to get a teenager to break out of that, yeah, Mom, whatever, was brilliant.
That was my first year, and I was in the room for that as well. I suspect you were closer to the front, but
no.
I was in the room for that, and that was the moment that myself and my wife Caroline turned to each other and went, "We're coming back. Oh, we are coming back for this."
Yes.
No, because I remember as well, because Joss was stood to the right-hand side of the stage, and he turned around and said, because Joss is always good at just coming up with one-liners, happy stuff, almost off the top of his head. It's almost kind of freaky. And his favorite, the line was, "This is my dream team." I'm paraphrasing because I'm trying to remember how he said it, but it was something along the lines of, once I had a dream about my ideal Avengers lineup, and it was not this good. And it really was just an astonishing moment. We've actually had a couple of comments coming in. It's fantastic to have you contributing. By all means, do keep the comments coming. Like I say, we were trying to get Rob from Futon Alliance on the Hangouts, and hopefully he will join us in future Hangouts. But he's taking part in the Q&A on the side as well. Firefly panel was definitely one of my top moments as well as my first year of Comic-Con. Sorry, his first year as well, 2010. I'm just gonna say, if we were lucky, we all got the T-shirts. So yeah, great. Yeah. My first year of Comic-Con, where I was sung "Happy Birthday" by John Barrowman, and then subsequently kissed by him. I only wanted a handshake, but alas, it happened. Caroline has been in a Torchwood panel. I would love to be in a room with John Barrowman when he's doing a panel, because apparently he just owns a room when it comes to just what he gets up to and the energy that he brings. That's something else. We've had a comment from Bradley Goran. Being in the Cosmos panel was something that will stick with me for quite some time. I know everyone does, but I love Neil deGrasse Tyson, and seeing him up there and being 15 foot away from Bill Nye was just so enthralling as both a sci-fi and astronomy lover. I think that's something else that people don't remember as well, that there are. I would love smaller panels. I
would love to see Neil deGrasse Tyson. I actually, there was a question. The Reed Pop guys had asked, who do you want to have come to the Chicago convention, C2E2 or New York Comic Con? And I'm like, Neil. I'd love to see him. They've done a number of science panels that deal with this the science fiction aspects of it, and that would be amazing. I'm very jealous of him. To see the Cosmos panel. That's a great show on television if anybody is watching it.
We're about 2 weeks behind in the UK, and it's something that I've been trying to catch and watch, because it's a hell of a show. Okay, we've also got some other comments. We were trying to get the Nerdy Girls from Angie, who was going to be joining us from that one, saying, I'll narrow it down to two: the Nerd HQ party from 2012 and the Breaking Bad fan party autograph session last year.
Parties?
Parties. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a number of people I've been speaking to that were unable to get badges for Con this year, and they're still going to San Diego because there is so much to see outside of the convention center and outside of San Diego Comic-Con. So no, that's certainly something that highlights that. And Nerd HQ, I'm certain there's been plenty of chat. I'm just wondering if it's worth. I mean, we're at 20 past 6 here in the UK, so about 20 past 10 for yourself. I'm just wondering, is it something to talk about with Nerd HQ, or shall we save that for a future hangout?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it, so I'm not going to contribute.
You've done possibly the wise thing and step away from the discussion. and do this from a distance, because it has. I mean, obviously. I mentioned this in my first Cup with Tea hangout last week. There is a lot of things to talk about when it comes to Nerd HQ, especially when, off the back of that, I talked about the Indiegogo campaign that has been raised by Will Wheaton to get the 20 episodes of Tabletop made. You may have seen on Twitter and also the various social medias that Will was extremely excited to announce that he'd actually broken $1 million raised with something still like a week to go, which is an astonishing achievement. It's also the fastest crowdfunding for a digital series, which at the end of the day is a show which people can watch for free, can not exactly leave an impact, but it's something that you watch as a passive viewer, that you are contributing out of the goodness of your heart. Does this sound vaguely familiar? This sounds like Nerd HQ. The difference being, Will Wheaton's campaign also had tiers of bonuses, of gifts to people who had donated a certain amount of money. Whereas people donating to Nerd HQ, it was, at the end of the day, purely a one-way conversation when it comes to a financial investment. So it's something that I still want to have a big conversation about Nerd HQ because I still think there's something to talk about there. Okay.
Well, crowdfunding in general is an interesting phenomena that's popped up over the past 5 years. I mean, even you think about when Fillion did the I want to buy the rights, from Firefly, 2-3 years ago, and instantly he had, I don't know, what was it, a couple $100,000?
Yeah. And he blinked twice and he just got all that.
Yeah. So it's the pockets are there to get this from this rabid fan base that we've. One thing I have recently just got, and I'm going to hold this up.
Hello.
I just picked up this book. It's an ethnographic essays on the pop culture phenomenon, and it takes a look at it from the academic perspective. But
wow.
they've got some fun ones in here, like talking about the culture of waiting in line. And cosplay and that sort of stuff. So I would recommend this. It's by Boyling and Smith.
Can you hold it up to the camera again so people just see the cover, and up a bit so we can see the people behind it? Edited by Ben Boyling and Matthew J. Smith. I'm going to have to look into that. That sounds like it sounds like possibly it could be a dry read, but from what you just described, it could be rather interesting. I like the.
It's from students, grad students who went to who go to con, and they have the academic, so they combine it.
Brilliant.
It's fun.
Excellent. Okay, a couple more. This is from Kitty Gunn, who's watching. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, Kitty. The dead dog parties every year after the con and hanging out with all the amazing artists, writers, actors, etc. Okay, I'm going to have to draw a blank on this one. The dead dog? Do you know what this is?
I don't do the parties.
You don't?
I'm not. We need Nerdy Girl.
This is true. This is true. We need Nerdy Girly, and we need yes. I don't do parties myself. I mean, the only two parties I do are the UK attendees meet up on the preview night, which is a nice little way of getting everybody together and talking. And then at Wet Willie's on the Sunday, we all get together again and promptly get completely shit-faced. Did I say that? Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
And for a bunch of Brits to say that, I'm like, I would be lost.
It's a good giggle.
I have one drink.
It's a very good laugh. And to be honest, when it comes to the evenings, then mostly I'm usually either in a queue or in a bed, desperately trying to catch up on sleep. You either do it hard or you go home. I think it's the general rule when it comes to Comic-Con. Let's see if there's anybody else who's contributed. Very quickly, Lister. This is a question from Jeff Moontain. Is that the movie Oblivion behind you? I think actually I recognise the poster. That's First Avenger, isn't it?
Yes, that's Captain America, the first one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great film. To be honest, I think that's probably my film so far of this year. I think.
Oh, this one was from the first. This was the first Captain America movie. Right. And I actually went back and rewatched it after seeing the second Captain movie, just because there's so much that I seem to have missed the first time, because it was dated, it was set in the 40s, and it wasn't 40s and 50s, and it wasn't quite as relevant as the current one was.
I really enjoyed that, actually. I liked it in the same, because I watched Captain America, the First Avenger, very much like the first Superman movie. The Richard Donner one, in that it really kind of painted a picture of another era. I really liked that kind of that shift and that distance. I quite liked that. But no, for me this year, Captain America, The Winter Soldier is by far the best the best comic book movie so far. I'm hoping that Guardians of the Galaxy is going to tip it, because I am so looking forward to that film. You have no idea. not going to be in that top 5, unfortunately for myself, is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I posted my review on an Englishman in San Diego.com this week. It's a 2-star review, and I think I was being very generous with giving it 2 stars purely because of Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone. I think we all had fantastic ingredients, and everything was there, ready. I think Mark Webb is a great director. I think he kept it on the rails. But I think Kurtzman and Orky deserve a lot of credit for ruining that film, because they just didn't know how to join dots together, and it just turned into some, certainly in the back end, some god-awful mess. I know there are a lot of fans of that film out there. I unfortunately was not one of them. I think after all the Marvel, certainly the Marvel Studios films, why do Marvel Studios seem to know how to do their own characters right, and Sony and other studios just kind of seem to just be in it to make the money? I don't understand it.
I saw an interesting article, and of course I'm not going to be able to call up the details on it, but they basically said that the Marvel Studios films, they don't follow the standard Hollywood formula, and the Spider-Mans and the Fantastic Fours, they follow the standard, you know, A to B to C to D, and they don't take into account. I mean, what big name studios would have done Captain America 1?
Not in the format that it was.
Yeah, they wouldn't have done that, because it's not action packed. It's not Iron Man 3, you know, with the crash and burn and all of the big stuff that went along with that. So
Wow.
that's my theory of it.
I think you might have a very good point there. I think I also was not a massive fan of. I'm trying to remember, because I think by the end credits, myself and who I was with, we were just kind of like looking at each other and going, well, he wasn't too sure whether he enjoyed it or not. I mean, he kind of got into it, but I was just going, no, that was a god awful mess. And I seem to remember reading that the American print had something along the lines which you Shazammed the end credits for some bonus stuff. I'm sorry, but aren't we trying our damnedest to try and get phones thrown out of cinemas at this point?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but when studios do that, that's when you know things have gone off the rails.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
One movie that is getting a lot of buzz on the forum in my household, and we're absolutely going to see it the first day, is Godzilla. That looks to be fabulous. Yes. I'm really looking forward to that one.
Great reviews so far. Some fantastic buzz coming out of that film, but it's very similar buzz that came off Pacific Rim, and a lot of people gave that some grief when it came out. Now,
I like Pacific Rim.
I loved Pacific Rim. I know, we went to see the same screening at San Diego. Now, the thing is, I love Pacific Rim because it's big, it's stupid, and it's messy. It's just...
It's a great popcorn movie.
Very much so. I knew that I loved that film when... And it was something that there was... The Honest Trailers pointed out at, and it's the bit where one of they're being dragged up into the lower atmosphere, at which point whips his arm, and this massive sword comes out to swipe away, and I'm going, that's brilliant. I'm sorry, but that's just stupid. And the Honest Trailer turned around and said, don't you think they should have brought that out a little bit earlier to finish this fight off? And I'm going, no, that's not what it's all about. Knockabout, I love Pacific Rim. But no, I'm looking forward to Godzilla, because it seems to be, from what I've seen, I don't know if we've been misled by the trailers, but it seems to be more of a very serious kind of take on it. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Angie from Nerdy Girls talking about the party, which she was mentioning earlier, the Dead Dog Party. It is a private party held for the folks in the industry. So there you go. Something we're going to. That's obviously something that I'm not going to get invited to anytime soon.
Yeah, I know.
So, Kitty, have yourself. Thank you very much indeed for the answer. Kitty Gunn that answered that, by the way. So, thank you very much indeed for the response. This is great. I'm loving how people are getting involved and talking about stuff. Rob S, so excited for Godzilla. We were at the WonderCon panel, and that arena was buzzing because of the footage we saw and bit of interview that we got. I actually was in the room in 2012 in Hall H when they first showed that initial teaser, which they just kind of, you say cobbled together, but my God, because it was also the first year they did the panoramic in Hall H, where they opened up the side panels. And they played that Godzilla trailer, that teaser, twice. God, yes, yes, I'm definitely up for that one as well.
That actually, he brings up an interesting point. That what are people doing to get ready hold themselves over for San Diego Comic-Con? And we got people, like in SoCal that are doing the WonderCon, which I'm completely, totally jealous of, being able to go out to San Diego twice. There's the Chicago with C2E2, which had absolutely fabulous cosplay.
I'm gonna come back to that. I'm going to stop there because I do want to talk about C2E2 because there was a post which I spotted, and one or two of you may have spotted this online as well, where someone was talking about how C2E2 is now possibly bigger than New York Comic Con and maybe the second tier con in the US.
I wouldn't say that. I think that they have the capabilities of being that because they have more sheer square footage.
I think that's the point of what they were trying to make.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Javits Center, and that they're going through a remodel now, which hopefully will enable New York Comic Con to grow and have traffic patterns that flow a little bit easier.
Sure.
C2E2, they obviously had more space. There was never, ever as crowded as San Diego or New York Comic Con. I always had room. And there was only like 3 times when there were people packed, and that was in Artist Alley, on Saturday afternoon, which of course is going to be packed on Saturday afternoon.
True. I mean, the cons that I'd really want. I mean, ideally, I'd really like the website to take off so I can do and talk about cons on a daily basis and really cover it on a professional level. I'd love to fly out and do C2E2. I really want to go to WonderCon next year. It's just a case of getting the funds and getting ourselves out there. Okay.
Awesome Con looks good. New York Comic Con. Oh, by the way, tickets for New York Comic Con are probably going to go on sale within the next month. That's the latest from Brian Setzer. Not Setzer. Brian, sorry, getting my music confused.
Sorry, as a DJ, I know who Brian Setzer is.
Yes. Yeah. So I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Okay. We've got. I'm going to go through a couple of the comments and just have a look at these. This is from Angie Loon. This is from Nerdy Girls. I've been to HQ since the first, and I've probably been a Zach Levi fan since 2007. So I could probably comment on it more than the average person. If you want to save it for next time, I do want to talk about Nerd HQ. I want to talk it out. I kind of touched on it last week. I know we're kind of touching on it now. I think it's an important topic to talk about because Nerd HQ has been positioned as the alternate con that happens concurrent to San Diego. And while that was being run in a traditional business model of raising sponsorship, putting something together, and then putting on an event, and then having the panels as almost like a secondary section which you then pay for, to have a crowdfunding element to it, I think it does shift the game a bit when it comes to Nerd HQ, and I'm hoping, I really am hoping, that Zachary Levi hasn't burnt a number of bridges on this, because if he's thinking about doing funding year in, year out, that could take up a lot of goodwill, and I've got a lot of concerns about that. Okay.
That would be an interesting question to see if you can get answered.
We've also, I want to try and get Zachary Levi to do an interview, and I have asked him for the Icons of Con series of interviews that which I run. I want to really try and talk about that. We've had a comment from Kitty Gunn. I haven't heard a single good word about Spidey. Don't feel bad. Yeah. There was some interesting talk about the opening numbers for Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2. I'd like to see what the numbers are like. If it tanks, then I suspect that looks like everyone else agreeing with me. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just going through a couple of these comments because there are one or two people. Oh yes, this is from somebody posting. Has anybody heard any new news on the convention center expansion? Very good question. Very good question. I have been in contact with the current PR person for the expansion. Now, the person who I spoke to last year in the Hangout, which I think I've posted on the website, which is, I've forgotten his name, Stephen Johnson, that's it, Stephen. It was a great conversation, and it was taken from a position of where if everything, they'd just gotten their, the final city board meeting, and everything had been signed off, and everyone had agreed to go forward with the expansion, and there was a couple of legal challenges to go further on. Right. That was then, and if you go to the actual conventioncenterexpansion.com, there hasn't been any new updates since then. I have been in contact with the current PR person because Stephen Johnson has either moved to a different department or has moved on. I want to know what's going on because it does determine, if not, because I got a bit messed up with this in my head. When does the current contract end with the convention center?
My remembrance was that they said it needed to be San Diego Comic-Con needed a completion by 2016, and you know, so it's the ground hasn't been broken yet.
No.
Now, I mean, my gut feeling, completely unsubstantiated, is if they break ground, San Diego CCI is going to extend it. You know, do a 1-year extension. I mean, that would be my assumption, but that's just me. You know, one person.
I don't know how they can do a 1-year extension for Comic-Con. I can't see how that. Because I don't think financially they can do it. I think the only way that Comic-Con as a CCI, sorry, I don't think CCI as the organization that it is can actually afford. I think they actually kind of do a deal with the convention center to have multiple year contracts. So I don't think a single year. I don't think they can afford to do it. I really don't know how it's going to work.
Wasn't the last contract that CCI had with the convention center like a 2-year contract?
I think it was more like 4. I think they signed off like 2 years ago up to, I think it was 2015. Okay. I think the current contract that's in place has been in place now for a couple of years, I believe. So by all means, if we've got
anybody has the dates there, you can help us out, because.
By all means, please do jump in on this. I still want to try and get David Glanzer as part of the Hangout. I'd like to try and get some answers on that one as well. We are doing our best because we have had some conversations with some pretty high up people in CCI and also in the convention center. So there is a line of dialogue, and I do want to try and keep that going, especially in these Hangouts and all the other interviews that I do. I want to try and keep that information going because I do think that's the way that Comic-Con can grow, the information flows, because then when you've got 500,000 people applying for badges, I think information is always a good thing to keep flowing, because otherwise things can get frustrated and people can get kind of very antsy. So,
That's
I mean,
that's one of the things that I just said to the New York guy that who posts on the forum, is that I appreciated the update, so we weren't just left hanging. And I think I agree with you. I think it is time for an update with regards to the expansion on this. And I was searching.
I will do my absolute damnedest. Tell you what, next week we will talk about Nerd HQ. We will talk about something I wanted to talk about this weekend, but I wanted to get more people involved on this one, which is so here's a bit of research for you. Alyssa, yeah, here's your cheat sheet, and everyone else, if you want to do it. I want to talk about diversity and sexism at Comic-Cons and Comic-Con in general. It sounds like a big subject and a rather dry subject, but this is off the back of the CBR Comic Book Resources Forums that was effectively closed down and restarted. Now going to be extremely well moderated, and there's been a number of events that have happened over the last month involving posts where the authors have been attacked, where forums have effectively run riot with some very negative elements, which I find very disturbing, and it's something that I do want to talk about, because I don't know if I see things from a very blinkered attitude, but Comic-Con to me has always felt very positive. It's the reason why I travel the hundreds of thousands of miles. Okay, I'm attending Comic-Con on the moon, by the sounds of things. These thousands of miles to go to San Diego, and I feel such a positive energy there. I want to talk about how certainly people's experiences with that kind of negativity. So I do want to talk about that. But that I want to talk about. I want to talk about Nerd HQ, and I will do my best to find out more about the Convention Center expansion for next Sunday. So do join us for that. I think I've covered pretty much everyone on the Q&A, apart from one person, Angie, who said, just to return back to John Barrowman, she saw a Barrowman panel at DragonCon, and he dropped his pants.
Oh,
that sounds like John Barrowman to me.
I've got to do a Dragon Con. At one point in my life, I've got to go to Dragon Con. That's that's high up on there. Speaking of different cons that you should go to.
Okay, that's the recommendation. That's another one on the list. This could prove a very expensive 2015.
Oh well, you've got to space them out. I think that your talk about the sexism and forum and bashing on forums, I have a lot to contribute in that, because I've come up with I've had to make some very clear-cut decisions about how I wanted the forum to be and how forums have been in the past, and they've allowed, in general, this kind of bashing of people, and that is completely unacceptable, in my opinion.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Right, well, we've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes now. I think that will do for now. I think we can wrap things up. Thank you very much indeed, Alyssa, for your time.
Thank you, Leonard, for hosting us.
I really do hope that you enjoyed the interview that I ran with John as well. Hopefully it did kind of allow you to put your mind at rest about several of the issues that's happening for Ace Parking. Like I say, we're talking 2 weeks and counting for that. We will let you know how that all goes, and we'll be keeping an eye on reporting for that whole sale. It is the final hurdle between now and getting some schedules up and running for Comic-Con. You've got schedules, I think you've got T-shirts. I think those are the two things now which between now and July. So hopefully you'll...
What time on Sunday?
Next Sunday then? Yes, I know that this was a delay. This was a delayed one by a day, and I do apologise for that. It's Bank Holiday Monday here in the UK, so unfortunately a lot of people were kind of tied up or unavailable beforehand on the Sunday. So next Sunday and every Sunday, 5:30 GMT here in the UK, 9:30 on the West Coast, and 12:30 midday on the East Coast. So those are your times. We'll talk as long as we can, and obviously we'll try and do our best to incorporate as many of the questions on the Q&A. So do join in. Do tweet me as well at Englishman SDCC. Any questions or any topics that you want us to cover next week on a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. And of course, do go and visit what I call the Wikipedia of Comic-Con, which is friendsofcci.com/forum.
Thank you, Leonard.
I do love the forum. It's great. So thank you very much indeed. Alyssa, take care.
Thank you, Leonard. Thank you for having this. This is brilliant. Thank you.
Hopefully every week we can keep things going and we can get ourselves ready for Comic-Con in July.
And
Take
get
care.
other people.
Oh yes, we will have more than myself and Alyssa next week. By hook or by crook, that will happen. And if you get that reference, congratulations, nerd you. Take care. Bye-bye.